welcome to my channel. This is chapter 3. What if Naruto has the power of Gojo? Let's start, guys.
Naruto sat on top of his father's head on the Hokage monument with a bored expression. Lots have happened since the end of the Chunin exams and subsequent invasion led by Orochimaru of the Sannin. There was the sounds of repairs all over the village. Not so much damage was done that the village was unable to operate normally. But many businesses and homes were destroyed in the fighting. Overall death tolls were still being counted, but thankfully the civilian numbers were mitigated quite well thanks to the actions of the rapid response Chunin force. Genin, Chunin and Jonin deaths were less than expected, 4 Jonin, 94 Chunin and 11 Genin. For assault force from the Sand and Sound number will over 2,000 altogether only. Suffering 108 deaths defending the village was very impressive. Naruto surmised that the actions of himself, Jiraiya, Kakashi, Guy, and Sasuke did the most as they took out the biggest players or defended important points in the village. Unfortunately, all wasn't amazing. Orochimaru isn't dead. The fact that his curse seal is still active on Sasuke, and Anko Mitarashi shows that. So, the old man's insane jutsu was only really useful for ending the fight and disrupting the snake's control over the first and second. Naruto's eyes narrowed at the thought. The third Hokage was comatose since his use of Requiem of the Sage. One of, if not the only S-class plus jutsu in existence, something that even a young Hiruzen struggled to use much less the old man he is today. Based on the reports of the head doctor, the old man would be lucky to retain use of his chakra, but his days as an active S-class combatant were over. Naruto didn't want to think about the odds of his survival if there wasn't something done about his coma soon. No one in the village has the ability to heal him. Head Dr. Tori was only able to ease his pain. The head of the ANBU's medical squad Carp was similarly unable to do much. I can only think of one person on the planet that would have a chance, and wouldn't ya know it, it's the last of the Sannin, Tsunade Senju. Therein lay the problem, Naruto thought with an angry glare. With the third in the current situation, the decisions were being made by the advisory council, made up of the major clan heads, Anbu commander, Jonin commander, and the third's old teammates. Seems with the god of shinobi out of the game, hidden agendas were coming out. All of them can go die in a hole. I'm giving Jiraiya till the sun sets before I go after his stupid teammate. It was earlier during a troubling conversation with the council Naruto confirmed his earlier thoughts of them. Earlier in the council chamber, Naruto stood in a large room which was occupied by the current council who has been deciding the fate of the village. It was lacking any real personality, torches lined the walls, no windows and not much to sit on, really, random chairs in the room with some occupied, others not. Clan heads for the Akamichi, Yamanaka, Hyuga, Inuzuka, Aburame, and Nara were sat in various positions around the room. Anbu Commander Lion was sitting crisscross on the ceiling behind Naruto while Jonin Commander and Nara clan head Shikaku Nara was standing in front of Naruto with his arms crossed. Oh, and the three idiots were here. At a high-rise table were the three former teammates of the third, Kaharu, Homura and finally Danzo. Despite not coming from any real reputable clans, or having any remaining power beyond a typical Jonin, from his 6 eyes observation though Danzo was interesting, they certainly held themselves above everyone here. Naruto didn't hold back. He walked right in and said it. I'm not here to waste time with old fogies like all of you. Insolence, shouted Hiashi. Naruto glared at him with glowing eyes that silenced him right away. I'm here to tell you that with the old man in his current state he needs the medical attention of Tsunade Senju, interrupted Danzo with a passive expression gathering the room's attention. Do not think your new bloodline makes you the only one capable of thought. She is the only one alive with the expertise to potentially heal Lord Hokage. Lord? This guy hates the old man's guts. I've known that since I was 7. Naruto thought with a slight narrow of his eyes. Great. Then we're done here. I'll leave right now to hunt her down and bring her back. Naruto said with a grin and went to turn around. Yamanaka Inoichi spoke up before he could fully turn around. You believe that the best course of action is to bring back a traitor? He asked with a glare. Naruto turned and looked at him for a moment with a frown, but it was Choza Akamichi who spoke up. Inoichi, Tsunade isn't a traitor. Inoichi turned to his former teammate. Of course she is. She abandoned this village after the Second War. How? Many have died because she ran away. Lady Tsunade's disappearance is and has been excused by Lord Third. Interjected the distorted voice of Anbu Commander Lion from the ceiling. Then what's the problem? Asked Naruto. This whole conversation reeked of politics, and he truly couldn't care less. The problem, you shitty fucking twerp, shouted Sume Inuzuka from her position sitting atop her dog partner, is that many won't, nor should they take kindly to that woman's presence back in the village. Like they said, who cares? Shouted Naruto while glaring at the council. I could care less about any of that. I'm going to bring her back to heal the old man, anything after that he can decide. He said before turning to Shikaku, I wasn't asking to leave or asking to bring her back. I was notifying you as a courtesy. A courtesy? Asked Danzo, not letting the frowning Shikaku speak. You've outgrown your station, Genin. You will do as commanded by your superiors, and in this case, it is to not leave the village. Too many eyes are on you. Not even a week has gone by since the invasion and already your profile is in the bingo books. The leaf cannot lose the 6 eyes. Or the 9 tails. And there it is. Naruto thought with a furious glare to the 3 idiots, all agreeing with each other. Some of the clan heads agree to various degrees as well. The bugs will go with the most logical choice. The dog doesn't like me because I pounded on her son Kiba. Likely a similar case with the Hyuga and shaming Neji so publicly. The Inoshika Cho trio are all strangely quiet. Naruto turned to the Nara and tried to lock eyes, but the man was staring towards the ground. He seemed torn on whether to speak up or not. Naruto wasn't sure if that was in his favor or not. Oi, Scarface, shouted an irate Naruto, getting a twitch out of Shikaku. You really agree with all this? He agrees as he knows it is the right choice. Hiyashi Hyuga stated before walking forward. Mr. Uzumaki, you are not in any place to demand anything of this council, nor are you to leave this village without supervision. Supervision? Naruto thought without changing his facial expressions. He forced himself to remain calm as he could tell they were building to something. Kaharu chimed in from there. Hiruzen may have tolerated your disrespect out of amusement, but it is high time you learn your station. It was already bad enough you had no control over the 9 tails as our Jinchuriki, now you have no regard for your new bloodline's importance. She stated with a frown on her wrinkled face. Naruto was suspiciously quiet as they spoke. Shikaku started to look around the room with a frown. I do not allow Hyugas to leave without a seal to keep the Byakugan safe. I would consider the same for Naruto. The 6 eyes have turned a pathetic genin into a powerful shinobi, not something we should let leave the leaf due to carelessness. Hiyashi stated, getting approving looks from the 3 and considering ones from the rest of them. Homura stood from his chair. This council has already been working to place you in a new cell, better training conditions which will allow you to perform your duties as the 4th Hokage intended. Naruto opened his eyes at that point and glared at the advisor. Oh. Is that what my old man wanted? To be your little attack dog? Naruto wondered with a half-lidded glare that was glowing with unimaginable power. Those in the room felt hairs on their necks stand up before the words were registered. Boy, that is an, shouted an alarmed Kaharu, but she was interrupted by Sume. No fucking way you're his son. She shouted in disbelief, her hackles up at the thought. You're that woman's son, the Uzumaki outsider. Outsider, murmured Naruto before a titanic amount of chakra was felt throughout the room. All individuals inside the room were war vets, some of multiple wars. Not since the 9 tails was unleashed in the village 12 years ago did they feel such primal fear within their bodies. Naruto's body shone with a shimmery blue glow of chakra, and the ground around him cracked under the weight of his chakra. If the 3rd Hokage chakra was like a hyper-dense blanket and Orochimaru's was a malicious swamp, Naruto was like the deep ocean, and no one in the room could force their bodies to move under the weight. Danzo's lone eye opened as he stared forward, but he didn't move to say or take any action, merely observe Naruto. Naruto continued with an icy tone, do not refer to my mother as anything other than Lady Kushina, dog. He said to Sume, who gulped, then he turned to the rest. I have never liked any of you, the so-called High Council, Naruto said with a growl, Before the old man was put out, you had no power and were more than happy to let him lead the village, and his body isn't even cold before you try and take control. Naruto's chakra was pulled back into him, making the glow around his body resemble blue fire. He raised his hand in a claw-like motion with a narrowed eyes. I believe you all need. Suddenly a hand was roughly slammed onto Naruto's shoulder, and if he hadn't recognized who it belonged to, he would have torn the arm off. The air in the room was once again saturated by powerful chakra, but this time it lacked the fearsome intent of Naruto's. Jiraiya, what are you doing here? Naruto asked, not even turning from the nervous council. Jiraiya smiled down at him in a goofy manner. Seems you and I had the same idea. I'll take it from here. I'll meet you outside, he said with a grin. Naruto snorted and relaxed his chakra and stance. Fine. Naruto threw a pebble from atop the Hokage monument with a sigh. The council was clearly trying to prevent the restoration of the old man and put a leash on him. He didn't particularly care about their reasons or intentions. They were cowards too scared of the old man to act till he was out of the game. From loyal advisors to ambitious swine, he hated wishy-washy people like that. It had been roughly an hour since he sat down on his father's monument, and he was pretty sure that Jiraiya would be done soon. He was anxious to get out of the village to find Tsunade Senju. The old man is stable at the moment. He isn't going to die if they can maintain him as is, but I believe that he will cross a point of no return in 3 weeks. The way his internal network was burned by his jutsu, that woman better be worth it, Naruto thought with a sigh. Don't think too hard, Naruto, you're far too young for wrinkles, commented Jiraiya, who landed next to him and plopped down. Naruto spared him a glance before turning back to the village. Did you talk sense into those fools? He asked, not particularly caring either way at this point. He was leaving come nightfall. Jiraiya slapped him on the back. Of course. Who do you think I am? I'm quite persuasive when I need to be. He exclaimed with a beaming grin on his face. Naruto looked at him, then shook his head. I can't believe those fools. He's not even dead, Naruto said with a frown. Jiraiya sighed tiredly. Crazy as it seems, Sensei's teammates Kaharu and Homura are the two that care the most about preserving his vision of the village. They're just quite pragmatic and don't have his attachments to you and others that soften his decisions, he explained softly. Naruto turned to him with a raised brow. Soft? The old man was many things, but he wasn't that soft, wise and kind, sure, but he never held back after a prank went too far on my end. Jiraiya laughed. Yes, soft. If you weren't like a grandson to him, he'd have had you trained since you could walk, and wouldn't have tolerated anything resembling a prank from you. Remember, Naruto, you're a deterrent for war. Jinchuriki, and many would consider Sensei a fool for not treating you as such. Several of whom are in this very village, I suppose, and the rest of those fools. I didn't think the clan heads would act like that. Yeah, Jiraiya mumbled, that's a whole other issue. Many of the clans are still trying to figure out their standing in the village and the Fire Lord's court since the Senju and Uchiha were basically wiped out. You present an unfortunate obstacle for their family's rise in acclaim. Naruto narrowed his eyes at that. Explain. There are currently 3 great clans in this country and this village. The Senju, Uchiha and Sarutobi. You, or the Uzumaki, are being considered to be the 4th great clan right now. It's not confirmed yet, but it's all but set after this, Jiraiya said while extending forward a small booklet. Naruto took it and looked at it briefly. International Bingo Book. There was a marked page that Naruto opened too, and felt his eyes widen in surprise. Uzumaki Naruto. Wanted for 50 meters Ryo by the village hidden in the sound. Danger rating, S class. Note. Wields a bloodline known as the Six Eyes Ocular Jutsu. Huh? Naruto said with a snort before handing the book back. The snake is a bitter one. Jiraiya tucked the book back into his pocket. You are now the 3rd, 4th if we still count Sensei, and the international community still does for now. S-class individual aligned with the leaf. The Cloud Village boasts 3. The Sand boasted 2, the Stone boasts 4, and who knows what's happening in the mist with the war and constant defections. In the Fire Country's court, the 3 now potentially 4 great clans have 3 of the continent's 4th class ninja. You, Sensei, and Tsunade, which is why those clans in there are less than pleased with you as you blocked. One of the only times an opportunity to raise themselves has come in years. As they barely boast an A rank much less S, so they know they can't compete with you in terms of strength. Add to your pedigree, the Uzumaki being a once massive and powerful clan and your father being who he was, it was almost a no-brainer to elevate you in the Uzumaki to great clan status. Explained Jiraiya with a tired sigh as he looked out over the village. Naruto scratched his head with a frown. The hell does all that even mean? I get that S-class means I'm considered an elite ninja, but who cares about great clan? Is it really just status that's important to them? Don't underestimate the power of status. Tsunade has had benefits that have prevented her being labeled a deserter due to her clan's status. Even if she was a non-elite ninja, her name alone would grant her many opportunities and leverage most would only dream of at the capital. Sasuke will have many privileges as the last of the Uchiha, loyal. At least, once he comes of age. That is without the economic advantages and ears of people in the capital that can make big things happen. Many of the clans in the village would greatly benefit from such things, as most of them provide a service outside of producing ninja. Jiraiya then continued in a more serious voice, also do not discount the elevated status of being in S-class. While not a military title, as in you're still a genin at the moment. The level of power and prestige in S-class has awards them privileges and leeway of their own just to keep them loyal. You are a face of the continent and the leaf now and will be treated as such. Even an orphan like me has lived very comfortably after attaining S-class. Though if I'm being honest, while likely deserving of S-class, you're probably the weakest of the three of us at the moment. Naruto shrugged. Give me a bit more time to get Infinity down and we can revisit that comment. He said lightly. To which Jiraiya thumped him on the head. Naruto then jumped to his feet. So now what? Are we leaving to get the old broad? Jiraiya shot to his feet hastily. Don't say that. Something you have to know about her is she's vain with a capital V. Don't insult her like that or it'll make our job 100 times harder. He warned with a bead of sweat on his forehead. Naruto raised his hands silently in surrender. Jiraiya took a breath and calmed himself. Next as we leave at first light for about a 2-week journey. I have a few leads so hopefully we're done before that. Sounds good. I haven't been able to meet up with my team in the aftermath of the invasion. Have you heard anything about them? Naruto asked. He wouldn't lie and say he wasn't a bit guilty at not looking for them in the past week, but he had spent much of it at the hospital with the old man or training. Sasuke and Sakura are fine. They had light injuries that were treated after the fighting. Sasuke led the team sent to protect the little ones at the academy quite well. I'd get the story from him, but rumor has it he proved himself quite well for promotion. Kakashi was low on chakra, but he's been in and out of the village on emergency duties. Jiraiya explained before turning thoughtful. That's another reason the council didn't want you leaving. They didn't want the village without an S-class to protect it and they knew I'd be leaving to get Tsunade. Naruto rolled his eyes. Yeah, I'm sure it was for a reason like that. They need their strongest here. Really making me feel like I have some type of privilege right now. He said sarcastically. He knew that was barely a consideration. During that meeting, they were chomping at the bit to get him under their thumb. I didn't say it was the only reason, just a reason. Jiraiya countered with a smile. In their own way they think they're doing what's best for the village. Unfortunately, the Anbu commander, Shikaku, and Sum are really the only active ninja on the council anymore. The rest have duties inside the village they attend to. So their pragmatism may be a bit skewed these days. Jiraiya suddenly stopped. By the way, when did you learn about your old man? I heard you mention it in the council chamber and just went along with it. Naruto snorted with a grin while pointing to his eyes. Ever since I've gotten these bad boys, I've been able to think far clearer and figure things out way faster. I saw a picture of him and knew instantly. Then I broke into the record room at the Hokage Tower and found out about my mother. I didn't really bring it up because it wasn't super important at the time, I guess. I was just happy to know who they were. He said softly. Jiraiya wrapped an arm around his shoulder. They would both be incredibly proud of you, never doubt that. Thanks, Naruto said with a smile. That being said, I am pretty annoyed. but I want to talk to the old man before I let it out. After departing from Jiraiya, Naruto decided to stroll through the village in search for his team. He was taking in the sights and surveying the damage done by the invasion. Shops and signs were busted up, but surprisingly very few were totally out of commission. There were civilians chatting in the street going over their stories from the invasion with relieved smiles on their faces. Some who looked over at him had surprised looks on their faces, a few even looked slightly awed by him. Word spreads fast. I'm sure my actions with Gaara and Orochimaru have given me a new image to the people of the village. Naruto mused with a smile as he basked in the attention-offering smiles and waves to everyone who looked at him positively. Can't say I hate this development. As he walked, he listened to the whispers as he passed by, saying he took down the tail beast himself. Makes sense considering. Heard he fought alongside Lord Hokage. Husband as a Chunin, said he's to be considered a lord soon. Who would have thought that boy would turn out like that? Still pissed he turned all my linens pink last year. Heard he was the only to lure the messenger birds over the Homura shop to cover it in bird poop. Naruto had to withhold his laughter at the last few. He worked very hard on those pranks, and he was happy that their legend remained. He felt a warmth in his heart to hear whispers about him in a positive light. It wasn't that long ago that he would have to harden his heart just to walk home. Instead of Ichiraku Ramen, Naruto went towards the training grounds that his team frequented. A bit more walking, and he was made privy to a sight that if his 6 eyes hadn't told him was real, he would have thought was a genjutsu. Sasuke and Sakura were locked into a spar. Sasuke didn't have the Sharingan activated, and it seemed to be hand to hand only, but they were going at it. Sakura's fighting style had evolved over the last month. Under the tutelage of Naruto with Jiraiya's assistance, they made her from an academy fighter to a viscous opportunist. Sakura ducked under a jab, spun outside of Sasuke and lashed out with a kick that the boy was forced to absorb. Before responding, Sasuke would throw a continuous combo that Sakura would deflect, dodge, and counter with incredible precision. Sasuke ducked low and went for an uppercut. Sakura saw it coming and leaned back, however that was what Sasuke wanted, and spun for a jumping back kick that she took full onto her chest. Not out of the fight, she rolled with the momentum and slid back on her feet. Bursting forth with speed levels above where she was during the exam, she let loose a 2-punch combo that Sasuke ducked and deflected, that she followed up with a calf kick that Sasuke deflected with his shin. Sakura front flipped from his shin and came down with a high kick that Sasuke was forced to block with both arms with a slight grunt. Sakura jumped back and noticed Sasuke approaching with high speed and sent forward a kick. Sakura leaned back from the kick, then continued with the movement for a high kick to Sasuke's chin that knocked him off balance. She shot forward and went for a haymaker that Sasuke dodged and grabbed her arm and held it behind her back. Naruto decided to announce himself then. Wow. Sakura, that was great. Soon you'll be a worthy teammate. He laughed with a grin. Sakura deflated at hearing his voice. Shut up, you moron. She shouted back, still being held by Sasuke. Sasuke turned over to Naruto. She's improved quite a bit. I heard she was training with you last month. Yep. I needed someone to practice on. She has some insane potential for hand-to-hand. I actually have a few ideas on what else she needs. Naruto said with a wide smile while walking forward. Sakura, your chakra control is good, but your chakra enhancement is wasteful and poorly channeled. Work on that and you'll be way better. I'm getting better at maintaining optimal enhancement, but while I'm fighting it's tough to keep it steady. Sakura said with a sigh as she was let go by Sasuke. I have a few ideas on how to train. I think it's just going to take time. Kakashi-sensei had me enhancing myself at all times, and he would call out different levels and I would have 2 seconds to match until it was second nature. Sasuke said as he stretched lightly. Though I haven't been able to maintain it for very long before tiring myself out, I have a few minutes at my max. Naruto wrapped an arm around Sasuke's shoulder. Ah, keep training and you'll get it, Sasuke. He cheered with a high-pitched voice. Sasuke responded with a shove, then glared at the trees. Sakura, keep training it. I'll help when I get back. I'm going to be gone for a few weeks to get Tsunade to come heal the old man, explained Naruto before becoming sheepish. Ah, don't tell anyone where I'm going or that it's for The old man. Don't think I should have mentioned it. No, you should not have. Came the voice of Kakashi as he appeared next to them out of nowhere. Sasuke and Sakura turned from Kakashi's sudden appearance to Naruto. Why are you in the loop with Lord Hokage? Asked Sakura. Well, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to share, but since you're my team, I'll just trust your discretion. Naruto said. With a lazy smile, Kakashi just quietly sighed but didn't move to interrupt him. I fought with the old man, so I was there. He's out of the game unfortunately, but with the help of Tsunade he'll be up and about in no time. She's the only one who can help, so it's become top priority. Jiraiya and I are going to get her. Kakashi perked up after hearing that. Both of you? I'm surprised they're allowing that, he said with his lone eye showing a bit of surprise. Naruto narrowed his eyes at Kakashi. Don't tell me you're on those fools' side. I'm not sitting around while the old man is in that situation. I don't care about my status, and if it makes you feel better, I should be able to return at a moment's notice if necessary. Kakashi just raised his hands in surrender. Status? Asked Sasuke with a raised eyebrow. I've been dubbed S-class, so they want to shackle me here, among other reasons. Naruto grumbled with an eye roll. Sasuke and Sakura's eyes widened comically. S-class? They shouted. Sasuke's eyes fell to the ground, frozen in thought. Kakashi settled them down. Yes, it's more than earned considering his actions in the invasion and who they were against. It's customary for all of the Great Five to have an S-class, usually their cage, guarding the village at all times, and with Lord Hokage indisposed, Kakashi trailed off. Naruto, shouted Sakura in shock, you can't leave if Lord Jiraiya is going. What if? Naruto interrupted with a raised hand. The old man's situation isn't known by the public, as far as anyone is concerned. He's resting. Even those within the village that don't have Jonin clearance don't know. He explained. Wait, what do you mean you could return at a moment's notice? Asked Sasuke. Naruto blurred forward and hugged Sasuke. I'm glad you asked, Sasuke. He shouted, getting face full of Sasuke's hands as he tried to free himself. After unceremoniously dropping Sasuke, Naruto went through 11 hand seals ending with the snake seal. There was a slight flare of chakra and a bit of a whoosh sound. Naruto in 1 second was in front of them, then at the next he was behind them. All three of them turned from where Naruto was standing to where he was standing several times. Kakashi just chuckled in disbelief while Sasuke glared at the grass beneath his feet while Sakura looked a bit excited at the development. I did that by playing with space-natured chakra. Naruto shouted joyfully. Basically, if I consider where I am, point 1, then where I want to be, point 2, I reduce the space between the 2 points to 0 and I'm warped to that point. The fourth Hokage did something similar but with seals as the medium, and his was easier to make combat ready. Though with time my jutsu will be so superior no one will even bring him up. He shouted with a wide grin and his sunglasses shining in the setting sunlight. It isn't as complicated as it sounds. I basically apply my infinity jutsu in reverse. I'm not expanding time to constantly slow down incoming attacks but reducing the distance to 0 using space chakra. I should be able to do it over long ranges eventually, but at the moment I can only do it to places in eyesight after 11 hand seals to get the chakra ratios right. Though I do have the anchor to help in my apartment for emergencies. Naruto thought with a hum. Space chakra was more tangible than time-based chakra, so he could play with it a bit more. Time was incredibly dangerous. He didn't want to mess with it too much and get sent into the fucking past or something. Looking back towards his team, he saw that Sasuke and Kakashi were off to the side talking about lightning jutsu, completely ignoring him, while Sakura was staring at him with wide eyes, clearly appreciating his genius. You're going to tear yourself in half doing stuff like that, Sakura said with wide eyes. Do you even understand the physics behind what you're doing? 'Cause if Naruto's eyebrow twitched, I tested with clones. Hey, Kakashi-sensei, Sasuke, you done? He shouted. Oh sorry, did you say something, Naruto? Asked Kakashi as he and Sasuke turned back to him. Nope, he's not getting me with that, thought Naruto before weaving seals to reactivate his jutsu. See you in a few weeks, losers, he said before warping out of the clearing. Naruto and Jiraiya were enjoying a nice stroll through the forests of Fire Country as they made their way towards Where Jiraiya's intel suggested Tsunade was residing with her aide Shizune. So what's the big deal here? Asked Naruto with his hands in his pocket. Why is getting this lady so involved? I mean at the end of the day she's a leaf ninja, active or not. Jiraiya sighed. You're right, but remember what I said about great clans and S-class privilege. Well, she's taken advantage of both to be given indefinite leave, so the trouble isn't finding her, it's getting to her without her sensing us. And bolting. If she knows we're coming, then she'll run, and we'll be on a chase I don't particularly want to have to be a part of. Naruto snorted. She sounds like a real handful. He laughed. I guess I won't complain too much, it's nice to be out of the village for a bit. The silence continued for a while, but Naruto had another question. So, why are you so focused on going to find her? I'm more than enough to go bring her back and the old fogies would be happy to have you stick around. Not like they'd really trust me with anything like they do you. Well, that's cause you're still a twerp. Jiraiya said with a grin, getting an eye roll from Naruto. In all seriousness, it's because there are rules, and despite having more knowledge of chakra theory than any Jonin I've met, you are sorely lacking in the political knowledge of our country and the others. Especially as a news class, there are rules even in this country we have to follow, more unspoken but rules all the same. Naruto turned to him with a raised eyebrow. Maybe I can force the snake to resend the rating, cause this is becoming annoying, old man. He grumbled. Jiraiya laughed. With strength comes responsibility, Naruto. You have tremendous strength, so. I got it, sighed Naruto. So what am I missing? There is a balance between the Hokage and the Fire Lord. While ninja villages are largely independent from the capital, there is a back and forth. The Fire Lord in the capital is in charge, and there are 5 advisors, all of which hold large influence in the country and trade throughout the continent. Trade that we need: food, cloth, resources, herbs. Basically things that don't grow or exist naturally in this country. With that, the capital also provides funds to the village. In times of need, such as after the Nine Tails attack, where we needed all the help we could get to quickly rebuild so as not to look weak to the other 4 great nations. Naruto hummed. I suppose it doesn't come for free. Jiraiya nodded. Exactly. The Hokage's ninja are tools to complete missions, and those with money can hire us. The Fire Lord and the 5 advisors often have work that needs to be done, from being political diplomats in other nations or taking care of rivals. Naruto saw Jiraiya giving him a deadly stare, and Naruto understood, the rivals weren't always in other countries. None of this is hidden from the Fire Lord or Hokage. In fact, it's actually encouraged to keep everyone sharp. We may not have the public history that the Bloody Mist does, but the Land of Fire has its own history of infighting. Besides the Fire Lord, the Hokage has the most authority in the country, with the 5 advisors being below that. Then are the great clans. See why it's important. Naruto rubbed his hair with a groan. Yeah, I get it, so what's the rules? You explained all that but didn't answer my question. Jiraiya thumbed him on the head. I was getting to it. He said with a glare. You and I are the go-to hire for those in the capital. Our power and reputation make us ideal emissaries, as we can go most places to deliver messages that would normally kill all that approach from the leaf. Last year I went to the Rock Village to deliver the updated trade agreement from the Fire Lord to the Stone Lord. I know you know how that's impossible for most others. Naruto nodded with an impressed face. Even with your representative you have some balls, Jiraiya. Laughed Naruto. I mean, you're the one who trained my old man, who tore those losers apart. Jiraiya snorted. They hate us, and him especially, but the Tsuchikage isn't a stupid man and knows there isn't a point to starting another war. For now at least. He trailed off tiredly. Think they're losing it over me? Naruto asked excitedly. I mean, I look so much like him. Not to mention I'm getting pretty famous thanks to the bingo book. Oh, I hope they've seen it. Naruto said with a wide smile. Jiraiya went to thump him on the head again, but Naruto ducked away and laughed. Ha ha, old man. Then Naruto felt a thump on his head and turned to see a clone poof away. Seriously, when did you make that? Naruto asked with a blank expression. Jiraiya burst out laughing. Like an hour ago. He shouted. Naruto blew a raspberry at him. Whatever. Jiraiya sobered back up after a bit. Back to the rules, because we're the go-to, we have to always be ready to drop what we're doing to answer a summon to the capital. Knowing you, if you were summoned while out here alone, you'd ignore it, and that would just cause all sorts of issues. Naruto nodded. Makes sense. Anyone besides you do these things? Jiraiya nodded. Yes. I do a majority of the political things. Sometimes Kakashi as well as his representative is incredible. And his strength isn't anything to scoff at. But for the work sometimes an Anbu Kapitan will take the job. The issue is, the Hokage decides who gets the assignment, otherwise they would demand me for everything. My mission rate is very high, but they have practically unlimited money. Naruto perked up. Oh. What would my mission rate be? He asked. He wasn't exactly well off financially. He's only been on 10 missions and 9 of which were D rank. I'm sure it is gonna be higher than Kakashi's, so likely 2 million minimum. Jiraiya said with a wave. Mine is 10. He said with a grin, to which Naruto laughed back. Naruto suddenly stops and turns to Jiraiya with a curious expression. By the way, are we just let those guys follow us the whole time, or should we do something about it? He asked while pointing a thumb to the forests behind them where he knew they were being followed. Jiraiya shrugged. They're here for you, you take care of them. I was hoping they'd have the guts to start the fight. In the next moment, 6 ninja with no headband arrived in front of them with a body flicker. Naruto looked at all of them closely. There wasn't a common elemental affinity among them that would give away a village affiliation, nor were there really any visual cues. All of them had very little defining standout features. Okay, I give. Where are all of you from? Called Naruto with a tilted head. Jiraiya took a few steps back. They're unaffiliated scouts. They want to get a feel for you. This means that every lord and cage now know of you and wants to see if you live up to the hype. After all, S-class win wars. Naruto stepped forward while cracking his knuckles. Got it. Now I want all of you to give it your all. Don't make this boring, he shouted before blitzing forward and kicking the one in his center. To the ninja's credit, he managed to raise his guard, but Naruto felt both arms break from the kick. Naruto's eyes glowed and he blurred past the ninja he kicked to get behind him and swept his legs from out under him and rained down punches with ruthless force. Once the ninja was completely broken, he stood back up and turned to the rest. The 5 were silently watching. I would recommend you come at me together. Naruto didn't wait and rushed another. This time the ninja he was attacking was supported by 2 more who came at him with tantos. Naruto pulled the ninja in the middle who had his guard raised with earth nature chakra to protect him. Naruto grabbed him and threw him at the ninja on his right, sending them tumbling away. Then he leaned away from the slash and ducked under the follow-up attack. Naruto sent a knife hand to the ninja's open side, breaking the ribs. Naruto was forced to block an incoming kick from the 5th remaining ninja and with lightning speed grabbed the foot and tossed him into the ground. Naruto was about to finish him off when the 2 he sent tumbling away shot forward to attack, one with a tanto, the other with a fist glowing with lighting natured chakra. The one with the tanto was channeling wind chakra, so Naruto knew not to touch it, otherwise he'd lose a finger or hand. With that in mind, he avoided the tanto with swaying movements and waited for his opportunity. The second ninja with the lightning fist attacked after he swayed back, and Naruto grinned savagely at the mistake. He grabbed the incoming attack by the wrist and pushed it in the way of the wind blade, causing an explosion from the elements. Clashing. Naruto saw lightning fist lose his hand and moved to finish him. Naruto jumped and kicked him in the chest, sending him back, then warped behind the ninja and slammed a full force punch to his back, cracking and breaking all him bones in his torso. The ninja with a tanto had his blade ruined, and he moved to attack in hand to hand. Naruto parried a punch and hit him with 6 punches to various places around his body, then finished with a spinning kick to his neck, sending him tumbling away out of the fight. The remaining 2, one with the broken ribs and the other who he threw into the ground, were on guard next to each other. Naruto noticed that the one with the tanto pulled another out to dual wield the blades. Naruto shot forward and made it look as if he was going after the unarmed on, but attacked both, the one with the tanto with a kick and the unarmed one with an elbow. The bladed ninja tried to slash him while the other tried to punch him, but Naruto parried the punch and grabbed the wrist holding the blade. He pulled the wrist forward and kneed him in the face, rattling his skull and shattering his nose. The last one knew he was outmatched and took out a roll of explosive notes and rushed him. Naruto grinned and coated his hand with chakra as he grabbed the roll of notes and flooded the paper with so much chakra it destabilized the seals, causing them to catch fire rather than explode. Naruto then leg swept the ninja, and followed up with a hammer arm to smash him into the ground, creating a crater in the earth from the force. Naruto wiped his hands off as he looked at the 6-downed ninja. That was fun, now go. Tell everyone of my amazing power. I'll happily beat any of you into the ground again. Laughed Naruto. He watched as they managed to pull themselves up and drag each other away into the forests. Jiraiya stepped up with a thoughtful expression. That was different than your usual boasting. More calculated. Naruto nodded. After the invasion, and the old man, we need a new boogeyman to deter foolishness from our rivals. I took them down without ninjutsu as a statement of strength. I do still plan to be Hokage after all. Jiraiya nodded. Smart. Though you should settle for 6th Hokage as you're too valuable to be relegated to the job now. That's actually the reason we're rushing to get Tsunade as well. She is perfect for the job, strength and reputation in spades, and we won't lose any manpower as she hasn't been active in decades. Naruto's face gave nothing away as he acknowledged what Jiraiya was saying. He didn't want to voice that he wasn't exactly a fan of someone who ran from her duties becoming Hokage. He'd have to test her when they met. Gotcha, said Naruto as they continued their walk. Tanzuka-gai, one of the 4 major cities in the Land of Fire. There were many attractions, and centermost was the entertainment district, which held more gambling houses than anywhere else in the country. Naruto and Jiraiya walked through the bustling nightlife of Tanzuka-gai with curious eyes as they looked around. Well, Naruto was curious. Jiraiya looked like he was back in his old stomping ground. Soft warm lights from lanterns lit the footpaths. Shops and stands were spread out throughout the district's streets. Bars and restaurants were filled with laughing and cheering as the customers were celebrating together for whatever reason. The atmosphere of the city was drastically different than anywhere else in the country. While positive in energy, the Leaf was a hidden village. Even the civilians knew it was primarily a military city with the ninja dictating all the rules. While fun could be had, if the ninja didn't approve or sanction it on some level, it was stopped. The capital was extremely positive, even to civilians with no power and influence, finding it a nice place to live. If only because the rules were a bit laxer than the Leaf, as there are no seemingly all-knowing ninja enforcing the laws. The capital was run on pleasure and money, for better or worse. Tanzuka-gai was a happy medium, enforced by a regiment of warriors from the capital as well as patrolling Chunin squads that allowed the streets to be relatively safe from crime, but still have the freedom for entertainment that wouldn't have been strictly permitted in the Leaf. These people are all so happy, thought Naruto with a grin. Jiraiya mentioned that they were approaching Tsunade and had them wait on the outskirts of village until nightfall, as she would be drunk enough to not notice them enter the village. Naruto suspected that even with chakra suppression, he wasn't capable of fully hiding his presence, as his chakra was just too vast. Not exactly awesome for a ninja. He'd work on it. In here, said Jiraiya as he pointed to a bar located on the end of a lane. The lights from the bar were a bit duller, and the sounds were lower than the rest of the bars back in the center of the village. Naruto followed Jiraiya into the bar with a curious look. There were only 2 customers in the bar located at a booth in the corner, one of which stood up as they entered. Jiraiya, shouted Tsunade after they walked in. Jiraiya smiled. Long time no see, Tsunade. Sheesh, I'm exhausted from all the walking, he said as he moved to join her and Shizune at the booth. Naruto followed behind with his hands in his pockets. I don't know anything about this woman except for what's in the books. I'll let Jiraiya do the talking. They're looking at each other as more than former teammates, he thought with a raised eyebrow. After sitting at the booth, Jiraiya gestured to him. This is Naruto, he came with me to meet you. Yo, Naruto said with a salute as he accepted food from the waiter, then ordered more. Tsunade barely spared him a glance, but Shizune's eyes widened for a moment before she turned away. Naruto didn't bother looking at her more than a glance. He was too busy being blown away by Tsunade. Her chakra is unlike anything I've ever seen. Every muscle fiber has traces of being enhanced. That's control on a Level 1 didn't think someone could achieve without a bloodline. Thought Naruto as he let his 6 eyes take in everything about the woman. I would bet that even without her actively molding chakra to strengthen herself, she's stronger than the average Jonin. At her max, I bet she could shatter a mountain. It's crazy that someone so strong is so weak-minded to need a genjutsu to make herself look younger. Jiraiya took a drink from the sake at the table and sighed happily. You've grown even more beautiful, Tsunade. I've missed you, even if you spend so much effort to avoid me. He said with a grin. Surprisingly, Tsunade laughed. Maybe if you tried a bit harder, it wouldn't have been 2 years since we've seen each other, she said with a smile. Naruto's eyes widened. Huh, wouldn't have called that. Jiraiya has the hots for this woman. I thought his true love were the ladies at the entertainment district back home. He laughed to himself at the thought. Jiraiya's eyes narrowed. It has been a while, he said with a frown. We'll have to pick up where we left off in the Moon Resort. She replied with a hiccup. I haven't had a good. Her eyes narrowed, and she shook her head. Oh god, I am drunk, she said morosely. Jiraiya burst into laughter, confusing Naruto and getting a tired sigh from Shizune. I'll say we were at that resort nearly 10 years ago, though those were the best times, he said with a melancholic smile on his face. Naruto tilted his head and connected the dots quickly, then burst into laughter, getting the attention of everyone else at the table. You're kidding, Jiraiya. You and her. That's wild. He turned to Tsunade. You must be something to snag this one, he said while pointing to Jiraiya, who was rapidly growing more and more nervous. I mean, there can't be too many out there that would settle for a genjutsu clad old woman, much less Jiraiya of the Sannin. Somehow Naruto managed to hit every single conversation landmine Tsunade possessed, and he seemed to be even more thrilled as he finished speaking. Shizune pulled her pet pig that was nestled in her arms closer with a worried look while Jiraiya was sweating bullets in his seat. Tsunade glared at him with a thunderous look that even Naruto found a tad bit scary. Who do you think you are, you little shit? She shouted, standing to her feet. Why are you here, Jiraiya? If you wanted to drink, you shouldn't have brought a snot-nosed little punk. Naruto's face softened from the grin he was wearing as he felt a bit of irritation flare from her words. He would normally shut down someone talking like this, but he wasn't in front of a normal ninja, so he'd offer leeway. Honestly, she was still pretty drunk, and he found it pretty funny. Jiraiya sighed. Honestly, I wish I were here for fun times. I'm here to request you return to the village. Sensei hurt himself bad using that jutsu to deal with Orochimaru during the invasion. Tsunade's eyes hardened. So that old fossil used that, huh? Never would have thought he still had it in him. She mused cruelly, getting a twitch out of Naruto. Well, you can stuff it. You've been named 5th Hokage. Jiraiya interrupted. It's not so simple as blowing me off. Shizune gasped and Tsunade's eyes widened for a moment before glaring at him fiercely. You dare, you hunt me down to demand I return to that place, and even worse, you convince those people to make me Hokage, me. Tsunade jumped to her feet. You can both fuck off, she shouted while slamming a hand onto the table, cracking it. Naruto stared at the table blankly while Jiraiya finished his saucer of sake. Neither of them all that intimidated. Too much, she said lowly as she sat back down. That hellhole took too much from me, and now you want me to die like those fools, like Sensei. That's all the Hokage position is. A chair for a fool to kill themselves at the appropriate time. Naruto clenched his fist. Fools. Big words from a weak woman like you wallowing in self-pity, he said venomously. There are many who have lost everything for the leaf and still happily protect it. I had my ticket torn less than an hour after I was born, and you don't see me drowning in alcohol. Tsunade snapped her head to him. That's enough, she shouted while jumping back to her feet. Naruto mirrored her actions with a slight glare from behind his glasses. Think you know everything, twerp. Then let's take this outside, she said with a growl before stomping out of the bar. Jiraiya sighed and tossed the barkeep a roll of money before following her out, Shizune and Naruto right behind him. The two ninjas stood across from each other in the empty road. The bar was far enough from the main street that there were no civilians around to get in the way. You think your hero worship of the Hokage makes them less of fools? I'll show you just how shallow your thoughts are on the real world. Tsunade said while stretching her arms. Naruto tisked. I'm going to say it right now. Apologize and take back what you've said about the Hokage. And I won't smash you into the ground and drag your old ass back to the leaf. He said with a frown. As he said that he observed as her chakra purged the alcohol from her system at light speed. Yeah sure, you little shit. Tell you what, land a hit on me and I'll acknowledge you as a ninja. Till then you can settle for being the twerp genin with too loud a bark. She taunted with a smirk. Naruto tilted his head. Twerp genin, huh, I'm the future Hokage of the leaf. I'm too young right now for it, so they're giving it to a useless ninja like you who won't cost us battle power to put in the chair. He responded while limbering up. Tsunade's eyes widened for a moment at his words, then she went back to angry. Also, started Naruto before shooting forward at his absolute top speed, shocking everyone and slamming a devastating punch into Tsunade's gut, launching her off the street and through a building. One hit isn't going to be all that tough, he said while dispassionately gazing in the direction she flew. Shizune off to the side leaned over to Jiraiya. So he's the one I heard about. Probably. Tsunade clearly doesn't pay attention to the new developments in the ninja world. Jiraiya said with an amused laugh. She was paying for it now, he thought. A pulse of chakra was felt from the rubble of the building, then green wisps of chakra began rising into the air. Naruto popped his neck as his 6 eyes told him that the rust on Tsunade's abilities were quickly being removed. Guess we'll see if the legendary fighter is all she's cracked up to be. Rubble was blasted into the air as Tsunade shot to her feet. Chakra was consolidated around her gut, healing the damage inflicted by Naruto. Healing of that level without physically directing the chakra, you're pretty good. Complimented Naruto as he watched it happen with his eyes. He knew that such a thing was beyond him at the moment. Tsunade cracked her neck and limbered up. Who are you? You're not much older than a fresh graduate. She asked, then turned to Jiraiya. Who is he? Naruto Uzumaki. I introduced him earlier. He answered helpfully with a smile. Naruto didn't wait any longer and shot forward. This time Tsunade caught the punch and sent one of her own. The punch was deflected to the right, however the sheer force of the punch was such that the building in the path had a massive crack in the wall. Naruto went for an uppercut that was caught. He ducked under a hook, threw a jab to her gut. That was redirected, and he was caught in the side by her follow-up strike, making him wince. Naruto backed off, then raised a knee to her face, and she slammed a palm to stop him, then followed up with a jab. At lightning speed, Naruto only barely dodged in time. He launched 3 punches as fast as he could. She only dodged the first and blocked the second before taking a hit to the kidney. She grunted at the force, then went on the offensive with her own combo that Naruto was struggling to deflect and dodge. He swayed around the first punch, caught the second and winced from the power behind the hit. The last was barely ducked under and he felt his hair sway from the force. Tsunade didn't let up the pressure. She stomped the ground, which caused a crater to be formed, taking away Naruto's footing that she took advantage of by landing a devastating punch to his stomach, launching him away. Naruto caught himself midair and landed in a crouch, a stream of blood flowing from his mouth. Her raw skill with taijutsu is in a whole other planet than my own. I'm a solid chunin. She could go toe to toe with the Raikage in skill. What a pain, not to mention her chakra enhancement. Body is better than mine. In hand to hand I'll lose. Okay, you're good. Naruto commented as Tsunade rushed forward with flaming green chakra flowing from her fists. Now, chakra enhancement jutsu, red, said Naruto while powering up a glowing red orb at the tip of his finger. Before he could fire the jutsu, Jiraiya jumped between them with both hands raised. Let's stop it here. You two will destroy the town if you keep at it. Tsunade immediately stopped while Naruto sighed as he stopped red before it went off. It was about to get good. Jiraiya. Naruto whined. I think she may be a worse matchup for me than Jiraiya. How? Interesting. I need to get Infinity usable. I'm scraping the surface of S, but I'm not there fully yet if this is what type of monsters await me. Tsunade stared at the ground in shock. I didn't think to go that far, she muttered to herself, completely shocked at the boy's ability and her own lack of thought in getting so serious. She knew he was likely Kushina's son. But to think he was so strong. Jiraiya, let's go, we need to talk. she demanded before stomping off. Shizune sighed as she took in the destroyed environment, then rushed to catch up to her master. Jiraiya watched her leave with a wistful smile. Her breasts are the wonder, but that ass isn't bad either, he said, with a smile. Naruto turned to him with a deadpan expression. Yeah, I'm going to bed. Don't pull something, old man, he trailed off, feeling gross for even thinking like that. I'll get a room at an inn. With that, master and student separated for the night, confident that their mission would be over in the coming days, not knowing what was coming. It was nearing noon when Jiraiya and Tsunade decided to sit down to eat together. Both of them caught up after the impromptu fight the night before and were enjoying each other's company. Both of them found solace in one of the only people in the world that has been there for them throughout their whole lives. Jiraiya smiled to himself as he watched his old teammate and lifelong flame eat. There was a time when this was the dream I would die for, he mused wistfully, then got a bit more serious. Tsunade, I hope you know that you're the best person for the job, otherwise I would have never suggested you. Tsunade smiled at first, then glared to the side. We can't just have a meal, huh? Always focused on work. First it was your network that didn't let you settle down, now you won't even let me settle on my own, she said with a downcast expression. I told the kid, and I'll tell you, I don't think I have any more to give the village. That's not true, I saw it last night when you fought with Naruto, Jiraiya said, making effort to lock eyes with her. You're lost in the past, but if you look to the present, you'd see there are people who love you and believe in you. I failed all the people I love and who loved me, Tsunade said with a glare. I couldn't save Dan, Nawaki died before I got there, and she trailed off quietly and shook her head. We couldn't have a family 10 years ago, both of us failed at that. Jiraiya snorted. Too late for you and I, and too much baggage, but I did have a family, he declared with a grin and slightly misty eyes. In every way that matters, Minato was my son. I certainly taught and loved him like he was my own, and I felt like Kushina was my daughter when they married, he said with a small smile as he thought back to different days. Tsunade's eyes softened. They were amazing people, though very distant. Kushina was family to me too. Yep, agreed Jiraiya, and I'm going to do all I can to be there for Naruto and guide him to be a proper ninja. He has much to learn, but I have the utmost faith in him. Tsunade hummed at the mention of the blonde. Just what is with that kid? He shouldn't be that strong at that age. Minato was a strong chunin at that age, but that boy, even sensei, didn't become an S-class till he was 16. Jiraiya sighed. You noticed that even at night he wore those glasses, correct? She nodded. He possesses an ocular jutsu called the Six Eyes, potentially a new bloodline. Really? Tsunade asked in wonder. What does it do? Well, it is similar to the Rinnegan and Sharingan, but not quite the same. Jiraiya pursed his lips as he thought the best way to describe it. It gives him the ability to see and understand chakra at a level only equaled by the Rinnegan, if not greater than. Okay, but knowing and seeing chakra should let him. Right. Jiraiya said with a nod. He can perfectly control chakra, even theoretical chakras, thanks to his eyes. The jutsu he was about to use last night was red, pure positive chakra hyper condensed in a shell of negative chakra. The power is absurd. Another jutsu is blue, which is the inverse of that. But as he showed last night, he can also use chakra enhancement body to incredible levels with no waste. Jiraiya didn't go into the insanity that was infinity. It wasn't done, and it made his head spin at the thought of it. Tsunade frowned as she took in that information. Strange, I haven't heard about it till now. Naruto was confronted by Orochimaru in the Chunin exams. Our teammate interfered with the seal on Naruto, explained Jiraiya, getting a surprised look from Tsunade. Prior to that, Naruto didn't have the 6 eyes and was merely a promising genin. We suspect, Naruto, sensei and I, that the 9 tails chakra was affecting his body and he was unable to awaken it until it was separated from him. Tsunade snorted. So Orochimaru inadvertently empowered an enemy, she said with a nasty smirk. What was Naruto like before? Jiraiya smirked. He was pretty much the same, but without the power to back it up, so a knucklehead twerp genin. With too loud a bark, laughed Jiraiya, repeating Tsunade's words back to her, getting a snort from the woman. By the way, I think I may have pulled something last night. commented Jiraiya while stretching, which got an eye roll from Tsunade. I didn't really give you a great impression of me, huh? Asked Naruto uneasily as he and Shizune strolled through the surrounding forests while their respective masters talked. Shizune gave him a side-eye before sighing, no, you did not. But I'm not ignorant to Lady Tsunade's abrasiveness, she reluctantly admitted. Naruto smiled, not like I was a bully or anything, she was about to smash me into the ground. He laughed. Granted, he could have used some jutsu, but that would have been his loss since they were supposed to go at it via hand to hand. Very true, there are few in the world that can take my lady on with their bare fists. Shizune proclaimed proudly. The little pig in her arms gave an oink in agreement. I'm sure. Both of them continued to walk silently a little longer, taking in the scenery for a while. The bushes and large trees filling the environment in lush greenery with the sun peeking through the canopy of leaves above them. Naruto turned to Shizune. I'm sure Jiraiya will convince her to come back, he said suddenly. Shizune nodded absent-mindedly. I'm sure that he of all people could. Would you be happy to return home after so long? I'm quite content, she said while glancing at him. I have maintained my position as Jonin by communicating with Lord Hokage through my summons. Katsuyu has a summon nest in the village that makes it easy to send and receive mission scrolls. Naruto nodded. Huh, not a bad idea. I guess that's how Jiraiya was able to keep in touch too. He mused. But I meant seeing your friends. Aren't you happy to return home? Yes, she said softly. I have loved learning from my lady all this time, but I do miss the leaf. Should Lady Tsunade decide not to return, however, I will not fight her decision. Naruto could only listen. He didn't want to argue with her. As much as her words were likely genuine, she must have been unaware of how lonely her eyes were at this moment. It would seem all this time away had taken a toll on her, and only the love and respect she felt for Tsunade was keeping her silent on the matter. A growl and a blur of motion appeared in Shizune's blind spot. Naruto only barely caught it in time to move in front of her and catch the incoming kunai slash. As he took in the appearance of the ninja, adorned with a sound village headband, and he sensed the chakra of nearly 3 dozen more surrounding them. Shizune, please stay back.
There are a lot of them, Naruto said while gripping the wrist of the ninja in front of him. I'll deal with this trash. In a blur of motion, no one could see Naruto's free arm lashed out with a palm strike to the chest of the ninja in front of him. It was a slight delay before the ninja coughed up a large glob of blood and fell to the ground, dying if not dead. It was then that the rest of the ninja became visible to the two-leaf ninja. Naruto whistled as he took off his glasses. Who would have thought Orochimaru still had this many followers after that failed invasion? He laughed. Shizune glanced at him in shock. He was far too calm when they were outnumbered this badly. Naruto moved through 3 hand signs that no one recognized. It wasn't that they were completely new, it was that one hand was going through different seals from the other. The molding of negative chakras so alien to normal that he needed to completely rework hand signs to manage it. A single hand ram seal with his left, then an open palm facing towards a group of ninja followed by a savage grin from Naruto was the only signal of his attack. There was a pulse of chakra nearly invisible between the 6 ninjas, then
they were all pulled together with such force their bodies were crushed into paste. The aftermath of the jutsu left a 5-diameter circle of empty space, no leaves, tree limbs or even blood and body parts. From the moment the dozens of ninjas appeared to the moment Naruto killed 6 with his jutsu blue, barely 4 seconds passed. Shizune watched everything with shock on her face. I knew that he was declared S, and his bounty from Orochimaru was 50 million. The reports came out in the bounty hunter circles. But seeing his ability in person, last night and now, all my doubts from his age are gone. He's one of those monsters, she thought as Naruto began literally tearing apart the sound ninja with his bare hands in a few applications of blue. Jiraiya growled to himself as he and Tsunade were rushing to get out of the town while smashing random sound ninja into the ground every so often. He didn't think they were all that tough, and fighting them wasn't even much a hassle. It's an unnecessary loss of life, sure, but not much a threat to him. What is Orochimaru thinking? He can't think he can take the 3 of us on with just his foot soldiers. Jiraiya wondered with a frown. Tsunade kicked a ninja away and frowned. Whatever it is, it must make him quite confident that he's launched an Offensive of this level. He must have some kind of leverage, whatever it is it's given him confidence and fighting him is never as simple as punching each other. Jiraiya said as the both of them cleared the town and were now jumping through the forests. The two of them landed in a clearing with each other covering the back of the other. Jiraiya glanced around and hummed, about 4 dozen, maybe more out of my range are lumped together and I can't tell. He said quietly. Tsunade kept her eyes of the ninja surrounding them, none of them are a real threat but there are so many that this could be a problem. All it takes is a lucky kunai. She said with a grimace. The ground beneath them rumbles and both of them steady themselves as in the forests there were explosions. Trees were blown into the air while dust and debris blew everywhere. Once it cleared the veteran ninja were greeted to the sight of half a dozen massive snakes closing in on them. Dozens of sound ninja readying themselves to attack and half a dozen massive snake summons looking hungry. Jiraiya started molding chakra internally and grinned. Now it's a party, he said as he slammed a hand to the ground creating a massive plume of smoke. Naruto, slightly covered in blood and Shizune, slightly terrified from the situation but still calm, made their way through the forests with haste. I don't know Orochimaru's plan but keeping us separated from Jiraiya and Tsunade was part of it. We have to get back to them, shouted Naruto as he rushed through the trees. Yes, agreed Shizune. A sound ninja wielding a katana cut through the air towards Naruto who pointed a finger in his direction creating a small Rasengan on the tip of his finger. Chakra Jutsu. Sinister spiraling shot. Naruto watched as his jutsu was dodged with a slightly impressed expression on his face. The ninja likely had quite a bit of experience under his belt. Not that it mattered as Naruto throat punched him, followed by a devastating knee to the head. This continued for the whole journey through the forests. A ninja was ambush them and Naruto would dispatch them quickly. That was until Naruto and Shizune were forced to stop as the sight in front of them filled them with unease. There were about a dozen ninja in front of them, the numbers weren't what was shocking. No, it was the fact that their chakra was corrupted and changing their bodies. Naruto's 6 eyes told him everything, the chakra is corrupting them with nature chakra and mutating them. This damage is irreversible, their minds are going into a frenzy as the chakra overtakes them. Naruto grimaced as he made another realization, they're fighting it, I can see it, chakra trying to push the foreign chakra back but they're not doing it right, they're fighting it they don't want it. Naruto's body shook slightly as he glared up at the ninja with fury on his face and a slight wetness in his eyes. I'm sorry, he muttered to them while knowing they couldn't hear the words. I noticed it recently, thought Naruto and he readied himself to fight them, ever since I woke up in the forest with these eyes, I've become more ruthless. Thinking back I wasn't the kind of person to kill people without a very good reason. I hard to force my resolve to kill Haku on the bridge, but now, I don't think too deeply. Maybe because I've noticed that all the ninja that I've killed were loyal to that madman Orochimaru, but now the first and centermost ninja was hunched over with horns coming out of its spine, it howled loud enough to disrupt the air as it charged towards Naruto. He met the charge with a clash that cratered the ground beneath them. Naruto felt his body rattle from the collision. While its strength was devastating, its mind and speed weren't, and Naruto quickly shoved a Rasengan into its head before it could realize what was coming. The blood and gore from the impact covered the front of Naruto's shirt and he felt his eye twitch. I don't want to kill them. 2 more attacked him, both having massive claws poised to shred him to pieces. Naruto jumped up at the last moment, letting them crash into each other. 2 Rasengan, 1 in each hand, were slammed into the head of the mutated ninja beneath him. Naruto stood and watched as he was being rushed by the rest. He glared and charged his chakra. In front of his right hand a swirling malevolent ball of red energy burst into existence. But they want me to, and I have to. Chakra enhancement jutsu. Red. He said before releasing a cataclysmic shockwave that tore the forests asunder. Trees in the jutsu's path were torn from the ground and swept the incoming ninja in the shockwave. Naruto could only watch dispassionately before rushing into action. Jiraiya heel slammed a sound ninja with monstrous mutations taking over its body. Its head cratered into the ground. Instantly dead. He absorbed a tackle and parried the momentum into the ground and slammed a Rasengan into its body, killing it. What a pain. Jiraiya thought as another ninja approached him. This one was kicked away as he was forced to parry the slash of the next one, duck the third and counter the fourth. Jiraiya, with speed that was uncommon in someone of his size, jumped into the air before weaving two-hand signs to release a fire style dragon flame bomb directly below him into the four mutated ninja. In the distance were the three remaining snakes battling it out with Gamabunta and Gamaken. Gamabunta was likely enough for snakes of these caliber, but he wanted to be sure in case Manda showed up, seeing as Orochimaru hadn't showed yet, it was likely the boss snake would come later. Behind him was a kneeling catatonic Tsunade being protected by two horse-sized toads with swords on their backs. She was able to take out three ninjas before one of them sliced their arm open to cover her face with blood, causing her to collapse from her trauma. It's bad enough they have these numbers, then there are the curse-marked mutated ninja. I had to summon two boss-sized toads, then two soldier toads. If I'm conservative in my assessment, I have used about a third of my chakra. If it gets worse, I may need Ma and Pa for Orochimaru. Jiraiya thought with a grimace. He didn't want to go that far for something like this. Then he turned to the hill overlooking the battlefield where a single solitary figure was observing the battle. A young ninja that Jiraiya recognized from the reports of the invasion. Kabuto Yakushi was overseeing the battle with a sound headband on his head, fully announcing to the world his affiliation. Guess the report was true, he was a traitor. Jiraiya thought before gritting his teeth. I'm really wanting to smash that smirk of his face. As more mutated ninjas were about to rush Jiraiya, the entire field was overcome by a menacing and terrifyingly powerful chakra. Even the mutated ninja were frozen in place from their instincts. Naruto Uzumaki, six eyes glaring at the world and powerful chakra flowing off of his body, emerged from the tree line with a small tear track falling from both eyes. Jiraiya looked over at him with a worried expression. Naruto, said boy turned to his master with wide enraged eyes. I've killed a lot of people that I really would have rather not have. Naruto said blankly before his eyes settled on Kabuto in the distance. Hand signs were weaved in a flash and Naruto warped directly in front of Kabuto, whose brain couldn't acknowledge Naruto's sudden appearance before he was punched directly in the chest with all of Naruto's strength. Blue chakra flowed from his fists in thick wisps trailing from the path of his attack. Kabuto vomited blood and was blasted off the hill and into the tree line behind him. Gamabunta managed to kill the last snake while Gamaken dismissed himself as the fight finished. Right as Gamabunta was going to announce his farewell, the ground in the center of the clearing exploded and a massive purple snake slithered into the air. Naruto warped over to Jiraiya, barely sparing a glance to Tsunade behind them, and watched as the massive boss snake entered the fray. Dozens of meters in the air, the menacing head of Manda hovered over them, gazing down at them with malicious intent. No way, muttered Jiraiya in shock. Why would he go back? Naruto frowned as he looked back at Manda and noticed the figure standing on top of his head. There were three. First was Orochimaru, covered in bandages and gazing down at them with a furious glee in his eyes. In his right hand was his sword already out and ready to go. Next to him were two more figures. Interestingly enough, all three of them were wearing similar coats. They were black with red clouds. As Naruto looked closer, he recognized the two beside the snake. First was young, only 5 or so years older than himself. He was stoic and bared a striking resemblance of his teammate Sasuke. Itachi Uchiha gazed down at them, with his Sharingan active and no emotion on his face. The second seemed particularly thrilled to be here. His skin was strangely blue, his teeth were sharp and shark-like, and there was a massive, bandaged sword hung from his shoulder. The monster of the hidden mist, the tailed beast, Kisame Hoshigaki, looked like Christmas had come early as he looked over the battlefield. Naruto wasn't sure what team or group they were a part of, but he wasn't excited to see 3 ninjas of their caliber on the same side against him. What a mess, muttered Naruto as he readied all his brainpower into summoning infinity.